Did you know that the most successful people in the world have failed more times than most people have even tried? We often think success is a straight line, that people who make it just had the right ideas, the right connections, the right luck. But the truth is, the difference between the ones who rise and the ones who quit comes down to one thing: how they handle failure. Thomas Edison, the man who gave us the light bulb, once stood and watched his entire laboratory burn to the ground. Everything, years of work, prototypes, notes, millions in equipment, gone. Most of us would collapse, would be devastated. We would mourn the loss, be angry, ask why life could be so unfair, ask why me, but not Edison. When his entire life's work went up in flames, he didn't collapse or get angry. He turned to his son and said, "Go get your mother. She has never seen a fire this beautiful." Can you imagine that? That's not denial. Rather, that's someone who refuses to be broken by what breaks around him. He understood what few people ever do. Sometimes life burns it all down so you can rebuild stronger and better. We talk about strength as if it's something you're born with, or we think of strength as some kind of warrior mindset. But strength doesn't look like what we imagine. It's not about never crying or never complaining. It's not about pretending you're fine when you're falling apart. And it's definitely not about winning every time. Real strength looks messy. It looks like someone who failed, then stood up anyway. To me, the real strength looks like the mother who keeps fighting for her child's future even when she's exhausted, overworked, and hasn't slept in days. It looks like the entrepreneur who takes bold risks, faces failures that could break anyone, but still rises from the ashes and keeps moving forward. Strength to me looks like the person who smiles, not because life is perfect, but because they've learned to live with the cracks and call them beautiful. When I need strength to move forward, I think of my own family. People who've carried unthinkable burdens with grace, who have faced loss, hardships, and fear, yet never gave in to failure. And I think of the film Life is Beautiful. It is a story that reminds me that even in the darkest moments, love, humor, and hope can turn survival into something radiant. If you have time, watch that movie. And if you have a little more time, read Anthony Doerr's All the Light We Cannot See book. It's a masterpiece. Doerr won the Pulitzer Prize for it, and rightly so. I have lost count of how many times I have reread parts of that book. It's brilliant, tender, and heartbreaking. It tells the story of a blind French girl and an orphan German boy living through the darkest moments of the World War II. Their fears, their courage, their brokenness, their love for life, and that fragile, burning desire to do good even when the world has gone mad. But my favorite character isn't the girl, it's the girl's father, a man who does everything he can to protect his daughter, to help her adapt to a sightless world, to soften her hardships, to make the impossible seem possible. His devotion, his strength, his ability to keep hope alive when everything around him collapses, those are things words can hardly capture. That's what real strengths look like. Finding light not after the storm, but right in the middle of it. I often think of a strength as a sword. Before the sword becomes legendary, it's just a piece of metal. And that metal gets thrown into a fire hot enough to melt it, hammered again and again until it screams, folded, bitten, shaped. It doesn't become strong by avoiding the fire. It becomes strong because of the fire. You are the same. Every heartbreak, every loss, every rejection Those are your flames. And right now, the fire that feels like it's burning you is actually forging you. The pain that feels unbearable is transforming you into someone unbreakable. I want to be clear. Unbreakable does not mean you do not ask for help. Unbreakable does not mean you do not make mistakes or do not have failures. Quite the opposite. While most people spend their lives avoiding mistakes, the one who succeeds are already 5 failures ahead, taking notes, recalculating, adjusting the course. Each loss is a lesson, each rejection is a feedback, each setback is a part of the map to success. Just think of Walt Disney. Before the world knew him as the man behind Mickey Mouse and Disneyland, he was just a dreamer, walking from bank to bank, carrying a stack of drawings and a vision no one else could see. He was turned down not once or twice, but many, many times. Some even claim that Disney was rejected by more than 300 times by the banks. 300. Although there are no credible sources for this number. But what we know for sure is that Disney faced financial difficulties and faced rejection repeatedly. Many, many times. Maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe 3. Just think of it. They told him his ideas were too risky, too childish, too unrealistic. But he refused to see rejection as failure. He tried next one, and then next bank, and then next bank. Most people probably would have stopped after the 5th or 7th or 10th rejection, but not Walt Disney. He kept going, and when his chance finally came, he built a world that continues to inspire generations, all from the ashes of other people's doubts. Walt Disney's story made me question everything we think we know about success. It made me wonder, what if failure is not the opposite of success at all? What if failure is the very ingredient that makes success possible? Because there is no masterpiece without mistakes. Sometimes it could take you years to get there. There's a widely shared story, perhaps more legend than fact, that Picasso once was sketching on a napkin in a cafe. A woman noticed him, and when she approached Picasso and asked to buy it, he reportedly said, "That'll be $25,000. The woman was shocked. She exclaimed, "But it only took you 5 minutes." To which Picasso replied, "No, madame, it took me 60 years to learn to draw that in 5 minutes." While we don't really know if this exchange really happened, the message behind it is powerful. Expertise is built over decades, not minutes. 60 years of fire, of failure, of sleepless nights, that's what allowed Picasso to name his prize. He was one of those people who was born into poverty, was criticized endlessly. He was rejected time and time again. He lived through grief and loss. He fell into deep depression, but he never stopped creating. He never stopped evolving. And that's why one ordinary afternoon in a cafe, he could draw a few minutes on a napkin and ask for a staggering amount of money. Every stumble, every rejection, every setback, they're not pulling you away from your path, they're shaping you for it. So the next time someone tells you to be strong, remember this: strength is not the absence of struggle, it's the decision to keep showing up, to keep moving, even when the world gives you every reason not to. The fire that once burned me was the same fire that forged me. I was made in fire. And so is everyone who refuses to give up. This was Word and Me Project with Dr. Yeva Aleksanyan. Stay strong and stay tuned.